A lot of people ask me, of course, on email or in conversation, what is it that I do in workshops? And the real answer to that question is, well, I work with what is present, what's present in the moment. And so in a very fluid way, and it's a mixture of talking about the things that I've spoken about on the videos, but I also work with people one-on-one within the setting of a workshop. And so, you know, there can be 20, 30, 40 people in the audience, and I have a chair next to me, or I sit on the couch and I invite somebody to come up with a question or with an issue. The beauty of working in groups is that there's exponentially a lot more energy available. So part of that can be to do energy work with the individual, to release somewhere where they're holding a life knot. And so within the center of the body, there is an energy channel that's called the Sushumna, which all the chakras are attached through, and that moves up through the center of the body. And what I've seen over the years is that in the Sushumna, there are, they're like little ball bearings. And so it's very tightly wound energy. And so each trauma that we have, and the trauma can be when we're 2 years old or 1 year old, the trauma can be the repeated experience of not having our essence reflected back to us. And so we tighten that, and we tighten that, and we tighten that. And so they can appear to be little pea shapes or little ball bearings, some of them a little bit bigger than that are in the Sushumna. And so within the context of a group teaching, I can be working energetically with somebody in order to help release that. If not release it fully, then help to unwind that, so they can begin to experience the freedom of having a lot more life force energy available to them. Because these ball bearings, or these life knots, as I call them in the Sushumna, they are where we have condensed and kept prison our own life force energy. And it's there to keep locked away that particular pain or that particular fear. So imagine that. So let's say that that's a sizable contraction. How much life force energy does it take to keep that feeling away from us, to keep that experience locked down and shut away? Then imagine what's it going to be like once that's released. A lot of people fear that if they go into that deep pain or that deep loss, that they're going to be crying for 1,000 years. It's never normally like that. It's short, can be very, very intense, but it's over fairly quickly, because then we just move the energy up through the system. So that's part of what I do. A lot of my experience in terms of teachings from an awakened heart is being gained from my work with family constellations. I've written 2 books under the topic, under my author's name of John Payne. And so all of the work that I do is a marriage of all of my previous experience. And so there are ancestral healing notes within my work. There are shamanic notes within my work. There is the pure satsang of my teachings. I love to walk around the room and talk to the group whilst I'm working. And so what anyone can expect from one of my workshops is the opportunity to work one-on-one with me and to really shift something. Because I don't really want to give people a whole new set of teachings that then become mental concepts. Some people will do that, of course, and everybody in the room to a certain extent will do that, of course, as I do when I listen to a teacher. Of course there's a part of me that wants to create a nice mental construct around that. But it's really about the experience. And so I deal with difficult topics. I deal with forgiving the unforgivable. I deal with topics such as the Holocaust, such as the African diaspora, such as rape, such as incest, such as all kinds of horrendous and despicable behaviors that we've inflicted on one another. I deal with the unforgivable. I'm not afraid to go into any of those topics, but not by whitewashing it with some concept, some idea that says that that's all right. Because on one level, it's not okay. On one level, it was extremely unfair. What happened to you? Extremely unfair. But on another level, there's a deeper truth there that can be explored, and that cannot be explored through the mind. Otherwise, it becomes another dogma and another teaching. And so, with my workshops, I like to take people to the experience of truth, of the simplest possible truth, where they can then have an experience of their own heart. And sometimes that gateway, or more often than not, that gateway is through their own wound. And what I say to people is, in order for a heart to open, it often has to break. And so my workshops can also involve dance and movement and games, laughter. Of course, laughter. Everything is welcome. And so part of my own longing, my own deeper spiritual longing, is the realization is that what I love to do more than anything is to teach. And so it's my longing to go out into the world and to bring teachings from an awakened heart to as many people who want to listen. I don't have the ultimate truth. I have a piece of the pie, and I'm very passionate about that piece of the pie, not as a dogma, but to bring something to you that can help you resolve something. And so we begin to heal this planet one person at a time. And so I go back to why do I do this and how did I start doing this? I refer to Chiron, the archetype of the wounded healer. And so I first entered this field as a client. I was looking for answers. And you know something? I'm still looking for answers. But in my very, very long journey around the world, and in my case, literally around the world, I've given 400 odd workshops on every continent apart from Antarctica. Penguins don't need me. They absolutely have no need for me. They are fully in their essence doing their penguinness. I have nothing to share with them whatsoever, apart from to admire them from a distance. And so as I travel around the world, I feel as if I live the archetype of Chiron. And so in finding resolution to my own wound, I share with others what I have learned along the way. I don't know where this quote comes from, but I rather liked it. I saw it on Facebook not so long ago. It says that religion is for those who are afraid of hell, and spirituality is for those who've already been there. And so I've been there more than once in my life. And so part of this journey of creating teachings from an awakened heart really started with a gun to my head some 7 years ago in South Africa. Started from there, meeting death, looking down the barrel of a gun, and everything that happened after that. The hatred that arose in my own heart, and having to find a resolution to the hatred that I held there. And then discovering that the hatred was there so strongly and so aggressively because I loved Africa, and my heart was broken by it. But it broke open. And so that's what I bring into my work, the amalgamation of everything that I've ever ventured into for my own personal journey, to come and share it with you. I'm not enlightened. I'm not sitting here and saying there's nothing for me to learn, but I do want to stretch my hand out to you and say, you know this step here? That one's a little bit difficult. I've done it a couple of times, and this is how I believe is the best way for you to do that. Take my hand and I'll show you how. And of course, I have my own teachers, and I have a guru. There's always someone bigger to bow to. There's always something greater to bow to. And so, in teachings through my workshops, I look at what is, I look at simple truths, but I also introduce this concept of devotion to something that is far greater, that always must be present. Devotion to the divine, devotion to the beloved, devotion to our own heart. And so what do I do in my own workshops? Well, that really depends on who is present. But my dream and my longing is to travel the globe, taking teachings from an awakened heart to anyone and to everyone who will listen and wants to listen, and who wants to experience and to join this journey with me, to evolve and to embrace, to forgive and to love.
Thank you.
You're welcome.